It's been a while since I got excited over a bike, especially a big box bike. But I was over at Academy Sports today to buy some inner tubes for a new bike I got that I might make a video of because it's a BMX bike. But I noticed that they had some bikes back in stock. And to my surprise, when I checked, they had this Gira by Ozone is the Terreno, which means terrain in Italian, I believe, and Gira would be like a tour. But I was actually impressed because this bike cost $350, and when I looked at it, the first thing that caught my eye was that it has an actual Suntour, the XCT30 shock absorber on the front, so a front suspension that's actually branded. It has preload adjustment here and here, no rebound. So I immediately went to the bike just because that caught my eye. And as I looked it over, I thought this is a good buy. Now, I just took some pictures. I didn't take any video, and just so I could kind of look through it. One of the things I forgot to take a picture of was the shifters, but you can see it here on the bike that's beside it. And that is a integrated rapid fire and brake lever shifter here. So you get a Shimano rapid fire. As you can see, it has internal routing there, has an aluminum frame with nice welds, and it has a 3x8 drive system. Now here I got a little bit of a close-up, and you can see that the finish is very nice. It has a really neat color. It's like a, I don't know, like a bronze, like a dark bronze color. Hard to describe, but nice graphics. You get decent aluminum pedals. You get a 3-piece crank, which seems from that to be right there to be a sealed bottom bracket, but can't guarantee that. You can see again that the welds are nice. And another thing that impressed me with this bike is that just about everything is brand name. So unlike the Schwinn Axum and the new Schwinn TAF and such, where you get off-brand components, here, and I don't know if you can see it, but right here, so right there, that's actually a Jaguar. So that's actually a quality cable. That's not some cheap, no-brand cable, and that one goes to the rear brake. So again, you get the Suntour fork, you get mechanical brakes, but they are, again, branded. They are Tektro. They're not some no-brand cheap thing. So that's pretty nice. You can see it says 160, so you get a 160 millimeter rotor in the front and the rear, and it has a quick release front and it has a quick release rear. Here you can see the internal routing, very clean, very nice finish. Get the crankset, it's a 3x8. You get an Acera, Shimano Acera rear derailleur, which is one step up from the Tourney, which you see in most bikes in this price range. You have a replaceable rear derailleur, and you have an 8-speed, what I believe is a cassette, but I can't guarantee that because I don't have the bike. So hopefully it's not a freewheel. But if it's a cassette, that means that you can, and 8-speeds are usually cassette, not freewheels. So it's probably a cassette, and that means that you can upgrade to a 8, 9, 10, 11, even a 12-speed HG cassette. But again, I would verify that before you buy the bike if that's important for you. But you do get a quick release. Okay, and a lot of bikes in this price range, you get a solid axle. Now again, because it is a quick release, that makes me believe that this is a cassette. You usually do not use a quick release with a freewheel. There's just not enough support for that axle not to bend in the future. Again, that is a close-up of the internal routing. Very nice. As far as I could tell, and I believe this is accurate, there is no internal routing for a dropper post. I did not see one on there. The other thing is that you can kind of see the head tube right there, and that is a straight head tube, no tapered head tube on this one. Again, to me at this price range, that's not a big deal because let's be honest, if you're buying a bike at this price range, you're probably not going to put a $700 Fox 34 on it. If that were the case, you'd probably buy a nicer frame and build up your bike. So the seat post here, it's a nicer seat post with an integrated clamp, and it has a pretty decent looking seat. And just to kind of compare that, on here you see a cheaper Ozone bike, full suspension. I would not recommend this bike. I saw the welds on this are cheap. You could see, look at the clamp on this versus that clamp. So this clamp is higher quality than that stamped steel thing. You do not have a quick release in the rear. The welds on this thing were awful. And you can see these are little details when looking at a bike. What's a better quality bike versus one with cheaper components? And this is, you see the steel post with the separate clamp, with the steel clamps on there versus the integrated clamp. Probably hard to see on this actual picture. And another thing that just details, but something I was impressed with is, and all the bikes they have, you can see 1, 2, 3 bikes there, and all of them were set up this way. So little details, when you go to a bike shop versus Walmart, you'll notice that at the bike shop, it's just kind of a matter of pride and just neatness. Your brand on your tire will line up with your air valve there on your tube. And there we go. There's the tube. There's the sticker on the rim itself. And all the bikes were like that. That's something that I myself, when I replace my tires, I make sure I do that because it just shows neatness. It just shows professionalism. So at this price range, I was very surprised to see that. And it gives me a good feeling that there's been some thought and detail going into this bike at this price range, which it's pretty amazing. Again, no cheap off-brand tires. This is a Kenda tire. So decent tire. The only thing is that they were 2.1s, so they're rather thin. And they were 27.5 by 2.1. So all in all, very impressed for $350 what you can get right now on this bike. Unfortunately, I don't have one right now. If I buy another bike, my wife will kill me. So without riding it, just the details, the specs on it, I find it to be a very good buy. Again, just about everything is brand named. The only thing is probably the crankset. I don't think that's a brand name crankset, and probably that seat post. Again, the stem and the handlebar are probably not branded, but the main components, the brakes, Tektro, the Suntour front suspension fork, the Acera, Shimano Acera rear derailleur, with the rapid fire shifters, which I believe are turny, and the front derailleur is also a turny. And you get some decent pedals, and you get the integrated clamp seat post. So all in all, and the Kenda tires. So with internal routing, I think it's a good buy. If anybody has one of these or has experience with one of these, leave some comments below. If you are looking, I get this question all the time, what would be a good beginner bike for me? This would be great at that price range. Again, straight steer tube, to me that's not a big deal unless you're thinking about buying a really expensive tapered fork. So subscribe if you want to see some of my other videos. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave some comments below. Again, thanks for watching.